this is Kate from Generate Magic, and so this is just a reminder for anybody that needs to hear this, that if there's something in your life that you feel like you've been working on for a long time, and it isn't going the way that you like, or it isn't showing up in your life the way that you want it, whether it's related to money or relationships or health, whatever it is, right? It can be very helpful in those moments to go and take inventory of everything in your life that is going right, and to look back if perhaps you're feeling frustrated with yourself or maybe beating yourself up a little bit, to look at everything that you've accomplished, right? And I know you hear it all the time, right, about gratitude and being grateful, and it's such a cliche, I know, but there really is like a power to it. And when we're constantly focused forward, when we're constantly focused on whatever it is that we're trying to accomplish, and just kind of looking at the next goalpost, right, I think it can be very easy to overlook exactly, what's going right in our lives. And so it just recently dawned on me that this recurring health issue that I've had for years, for well over a decade at this point. And I don't want to get too much into the story, but basically I believed that I had candida. And let me tell you, like, once that word kind of enters into your brain, right, or once this belief enters into your brain, like, it just becomes like an endless rabbit hole. And especially, I think, because it isn't something that's really widely recognized by the conventional medical community. And so then when you find people that do talk about it, all of a sudden it kind of gives you the sense of validation, right? You're like, oh, finally somebody understands me. Finally somebody understands what I'm going through. And so it's kind of similar to what I talked about in a video recently, where I was talking about quote unquote disorders, right? Like ADHD, OCD, depression, anxiety. I'm not talking about the experience of any of these things, right? But I'm talking about the actual label or the actual diagnosis. And sometimes when you first get the diagnosis, whether it's a doctor that gives it to you, or whether you self-diagnose, it can be very validating, right? There can be like a comfort in it, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I'm not going crazy, and maybe there actually is a way to fix this. But let me tell you, it just turns into an endless rabbit hole. And that's how it was for me in my health, and just spending hours researching things on Google, reading about like different supplements, seeing energy healers. And each time I would have this hope that, oh, maybe this is finally it. Like, maybe I'm finally quote unquote cured. And this is a recurring thing. So it's not like I experience the symptoms every single day, but it would always be only a matter of time. Sometimes it was a matter of weeks, and sometimes it was a matter of a couple of months, but eventually the symptoms would always return. And so the fact that I had been going through this for so long, and I was under the assumption, that I had this health condition, and so all of this was basically sort of making it seem more solid, right, and making it seem much more difficult to overcome. And in fact, a little over a year ago, so it was December 2022, I was like, okay, I'm going to tackle this once and for all. And so I actually did this very intensive treatment program with, I think it's called like a naturopath, or like some sort of like holistic medicine doctor, where Monday through Friday I would go to the clinic. I would get all sorts of treatments, including acupuncture. It was a very intensive program. And the people, the doctor and all the people that worked for her, they were wonderful. They were very caring. They were very, I could tell they definitely very, very much cared about their patients, and they cared about the well-being of their patients. But I was not getting any better. In fact, it actually felt like my symptoms were getting worse. And they would always, and when I would say that, they would always kind of say things like, oh, are you eating pasta? I was like, no, I'm not eating pasta. And it was just it was a little bit annoying after a while that was always their go-to assumption. And well, and they also kind of told me, oh well, you know, that's just kind of part of it, right? That's your body healing. And so I thought, okay, well, you know, maybe this is just part of it. But when things just kept getting, you know, worse and worse, and then even, you know, even after I ended the program, it felt like things were still not really improving. And so it was just a very kind of discouraging program. And then eventually at some point, I think maybe around October, I might have made a video about this, but I basically just kind of like surrendered. And I was like, okay, I'm just done dealing with this, basically. I'm done like thinking about it. I'm done, you know, trying to fix it or trying to solve it. And it's not like right at that moment, you know, like I made the declaration and then all of a sudden the seas parted and it's like it's like miracles unfolded instantly. So it's not like one of those moments, but it just occurred to me today actually that after kind of making that decision, it seems like my symptoms pretty much went away. I would say, I'm not gonna lie, like I would say I might have had a few subtle symptoms for maybe like on and on for like a couple of months after that. But I would say at least for a good 6 months now, I have been completely symptom free. And yeah, it just kind of like dawned on me because I was kind of focused, you know, as we often are, right, on kind of the things that need to be improved, the things that I still needed to, or still believed, right, that I needed to work on. And, you know, kind of, again, this kind of like striving and efforting and sort of forward motion that I wasn't even really being appreciative of, oh, wow, you know, this health condition that had been this huge thing in my life for, again, like over a decade is you know, no longer present anymore. And of course, you know, being the person that I am, I then tried to kind of like reverse engineer, okay, well, what did I do? And how can I apply that to other things? But I think a big part of it was I just decided not to focus on it, not to focus on the problem anymore, not to focus on it, not to fixate on it. And you probably heard before, right? Those people that are constantly on a healing journey, whether it's physical healing or whether it's some other, you know, more like spiritual or emotional healing, right? And I was certainly one of those people. And there was sort of like an excitement to it. And it was kind of like this validation, right? Like, oh, there's finally people that get, you know, that understand me, and it was the sense of all kind of being on this journey together. But once I finally made this decision that I was just tired of worrying about it, I was tired of stressing about it, I just wasn't going to deal with it anymore. I wasn't going to hold on to it anymore. And so I believe it's from A Course in Miracles, the saying, right, hold on to nothing. And so that's what I did. I decided, okay, I'm just not going to hold on to it anymore. It's not like I did any sort of fancy ritual or anything like that. And it was very much a surrender would be the best way to describe it. And so that would be, I think that's one sort of takeaway, right, is if there is something, you know, that's really kind of plaguing you, and you feel like it's been plaguing you for a long time, and trust me, the length of time can definitely kind of factor into your frustration, right? And so just kind of just surrendering, just saying, okay, I don't want to stress about this anymore. I don't want to be frustrated about it anymore. And even if, like with my specific case, I kind of felt like it was a lost cause. I was like, okay, I don't feel like I have the answers. I don't feel like anybody has the answers for me, but I'm done with it. And so just kind of deciding, you know, that even if you don't have the answers, just deciding that you're done with it, basically. I think there's a lot of power in that. But second of all, the message, that the original purpose of making this video was, just to kind of, whenever you're sort of reflecting on all the things in your life that aren't aren't going right, just to kind of sit back, right, and again sort of take inventory. And I think it's kind of, it's nice to sort of take like little snapshots, right, and think about, okay, where was I 6 months ago, where was I a year ago, and or even to think about myself like a decade ago, and just kind of drifting from one odd job to another and constantly stressing about money. And then the fact that for probably most of my life, I've pretty much been, when it comes to like love and relationships, it's pretty much just been nonstop dysfunction. And dysfunction, loneliness, rejection, feeling like love and relationships, like it never works out for me. And then realizing that I'm now in a really wonderful relationship. And yeah, and just kind of stopping, to sit back and be appreciative of that. And I think the more, again, it comes back to how are you seeing things, right? Are you viewing your reality through the lens of love or the lens of lack? And so stopping and doing a check-in with yourself whenever you're feeling those moments of frustration or those moments of lack, I think can be very, very beneficial. And I'm almost certain that you'll come up with some gold. So with that, thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.